Most people are controlled by what happens around them. A look, a comment, a delay, a small sign of disrespect. They react without thinking. Their mood changes. Their confidence drops. This audiobook is about a different way to live. A way where you are not pulled by every word, not shaken by every opinion, not controlled by other people's emotions. Reacting to nothing does not mean being cold. It means being unshakable. It means choosing calm over impulse, power over pressure, control over chaos. When you stop reacting, people feel it. Your presence becomes stronger. Your confidence becomes dangerous in the best way. If you want to build this level of inner strength, subscribe to this channel now. More powerful audiobooks like this are released here regularly. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Why reacting is making you weak. Most people think reacting is normal. They believe it is just how life works. Something happens. They feel something. They react. This pattern feels automatic, but automatic reactions quietly steal your power. Every time you react without choosing, you give control away. Not to a person, not to a situation, but to impulse. Impulse is not wisdom. Impulse is fast. It is emotional. It is often short-sighted. Confidence grows when you slow this pattern. Reacting feels justified in the moment. Someone disrespects you. You snap back. Someone ignores you. You feel hurt. Someone criticizes you. You defend yourself. These reactions feel natural, but natural does not mean strong. Strong people are not controlled by every trigger. They choose when to respond. Choosing is power. Reacting is surrender. Most people do not realize how often they react. A message takes too long. They feel anxious. A tone sounds rude. They feel angry. A look feels judgmental. They feel small. These tiny reactions shape mood. Mood shapes behavior. Behavior shapes life. This is how reacting slowly erodes confidence. Another truth is this: when you react, you train others how to treat you. If people see they can control your emotions, they gain power. Not because they are strong, but because you gave them access to your inner state. Confidence begins when you close that door. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop being controlled. There is a difference. Caring is strength. Being controlled is weakness. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it shortens your thinking. When emotions rise, thinking narrows. Narrow thinking makes poor decisions. Poor decisions create regret. Regret weakens confidence. This cycle repeats. React, regret, doubt. Confidence breaks this cycle with space. Space between trigger and response. In that space, you regain choice. Choice restores power. Most people believe reacting shows strength. They think standing up immediately is confidence, but immediate reaction is often emotional, not intentional. True confidence is calm. Calm is not passive. Calm is controlled. Controlled people decide. They do not explode. Another truth is this: people who react are easy to predict. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. If someone knows what triggers you, they can guide your mood. That is dangerous. Reacting gives others a remote control to your emotions. Confidence takes that remote back. Another reason reacting weakens you is identity. You start to see yourself as emotional, as sensitive, as reactive. This identity shapes future behavior. You expect to react. Expectation becomes habit. Habit becomes personality. Confidence interrupts this early. Another truth is that reacting often comes from fear. Fear of being disrespected. Fear of being ignored. Fear of losing control. Fear-driven reactions do not protect you. They expose you. They show where you are sensitive. Sensitivity is human, but advertising it through reaction makes you vulnerable. Confidence protects vulnerability with calm. Another reason reacting weakens you is energy loss. Every reaction drains energy. Anger drains. Worry drains. Defensiveness drains. That energy could be used for building goals, building strength, building clarity. Reacting wastes it. Another truth is that reacting trains your nervous system. The more you react, the faster your body reacts next time. This creates a hair trigger system. Small things feel big. Big things feel overwhelming. Confidence calms the system. Calm systems think clearly. Another reason reacting weakens you is relationship damage. Reactions often hurt others. Words said in reaction cannot be taken back. Damage creates distance. Distance creates isolation. Isolation weakens confidence. Another truth is this: when you stop reacting, people feel your presence more. They cannot pull you emotionally. This creates quiet respect. Respect strengthens confidence. Another reason reacting weakens you is loss of self-trust. If you always react, you cannot predict yourself. Unpredictability inside creates insecurity. Confidence grows from knowing you can stay steady. Another truth is that reacting gives short-term relief. You feel better for a moment, but long-term, you feel worse. Long-term cost is high. Confidence chooses long-term strength over short-term relief. Another reason reacting weakens you is emotional addiction. Strong reactions create stimulation. Stimulation feels alive, but it also creates dependence. You start seeking emotional highs. Calm feels boring. Calm is actually power. Another truth is that reacting keeps you stuck in other people's frame. You are always responding to their world. You are not leading your own. Leading your own life requires control of self. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it keeps old wounds active. Every trigger connects to past pain. Reaction keeps pain alive. Non-reaction allows healing. Another truth is that reacting often feels justified. You tell yourself they deserve it. Justification hides weakness. Confidence does not need to justify. It simply chooses. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it shrinks perspective. You see only the moment. You forget the bigger picture. Big picture thinking requires calm. Another truth is that reacting trains others to expect drama. Drama becomes your identity. Drama attracts more drama. Confidence breaks this pattern. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it removes mystery. When people know how you will react, you become transparent. Transparency in reactions reduces power. Calm creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates respect. Another truth is that reacting teaches your mind that you are not in control. Over time, this belief settles. Belief shapes identity. Identity shapes destiny. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it lowers emotional discipline. Discipline builds strength. Lack of discipline weakens character. Another truth is that reacting keeps you in survival mode. Survival mode is narrow. Growth mode is wide. Confidence lives in growth mode. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it creates internal chaos. Chaos feels tiring. Tired minds react more. This becomes a loop. Another truth is that reacting makes you easy to disturb. Peace becomes fragile. Fragile peace is not peace. Real peace is stable. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it keeps you dependent on external validation. You need others to behave well for you to feel good. That is weakness. Confidence creates inner stability. Another truth is that reacting gives away leadership. Leaders stay calm. Followers react. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it creates emotional noise. Noise blocks clarity. Clarity is power. Another truth is that reacting keeps you small. Small emotionally, small mentally. Confidence expands you. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it limits growth. Growth requires discomfort. Reacting avoids discomfort. Avoidance blocks growth. Another truth is that reacting feels normal because most people do it. Normal does not mean optimal. Average behavior creates average life. Confidence demands better. Another reason reacting weakens you is that it ties your state to others. Your mood becomes their responsibility. That is unfair to you. Confidence takes responsibility back. Another truth is that reacting is a habit. Habits can be changed. This is good news. You are not broken. You are trained, and training can be undone. In the next chapters, you will learn how to create space, how to slow reactions, how to stay calm under pressure, not to become cold, but to become powerful, because the person who controls their reactions controls their life. And that is where dangerous confidence begins. Chapter 2, Creating Space Between Trigger and Response. Power is not built in big moments. It is built in small pauses. Most people think confidence is about strong action. They forget the pause. The pause is where power lives. A trigger appears, a word, a look, a delay. Your body reacts instantly. Heart tightens, mind speeds up, emotion rises. In that moment, most people act. They speak. They send the message. They change their tone. This is reaction. Reaction feels fast, but fast is not strong. Strong is slow enough to choose. The difference between reacting and responding is space. Space is a few seconds, sometimes less, but in those seconds, everything changes. Space gives your thinking time to come online. Thinking balances emotion. Balance creates choice. Choice is confidence. Most people believe they do not have time to pause. They think things move too fast. This is not true. There is always a tiny gap. The problem is not time, it is awareness. You must notice the trigger. Awareness is the first skill. When you notice the trigger, you interrupt the automatic pattern. Interrupting creates space. Space breaks habit. Habit change begins here. Another truth is this: your body reacts before your mind. This is biology. Your nervous system scans for threat. It prepares you to fight or defend. This system is fast. It is ancient. But ancient systems are not always smart. They protect survival, not reputation, not long-term goals. If you let this system run your life, you stay in survival mode. Survival mode is reactive. Confidence lives outside survival mode. Creating space tells your nervous system that you are safe. Safety slows reaction. Slower reactions allow thinking. Thinking restores leadership. Another important idea is naming the trigger. Internally, you can say to yourself, "This is a trigger." Naming creates distance. Distance reduces emotional grip. Grip is what causes impulsive action. Release the grip. Another truth is that emotions peak quickly. They rise fast. They also fall fast. If you act at the peak, you regret it. If you wait, clarity appears. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is strategy. Another important idea is breath. Breath is the fastest way to create space. A slow breath tells your nervous system to slow down. A slow system, clear mind, better choice. Another truth is posture. If your body is tight, your mind stays tight. Relax shoulders, soften jaw. Small physical changes create mental space. Another important idea is time distortion. When triggered, time feels urgent. Urgency is an illusion. Very few situations require instant emotional response. Most situations benefit from pause. Pause prevents damage. Another truth is that space protects your dignity. When you react emotionally, you often reveal more than you want. You show where you are sensitive. Space hides sensitivity. This protects your power. Another important idea is that space creates unpredictability. When people cannot predict your reaction, they cannot control you. Control shifts back to you. Another truth is that space trains emotional discipline. Each pause strengthens control. Control becomes habit. Habit becomes character. Another important idea is separating stimulus from identity. What someone says is not who you are. Triggers feel personal. Most are not. Space allows you to remember this. Another truth is that your first thought is often emotional. Your second thought is often wiser. Space allows second thought. Second thought saves you. Another important idea is delaying communication. If you are triggered, do not send the message. Write it. Do not send it. Wait. Read it later. Later you will see clearly. Another truth is that space builds respect. People trust those who do not explode. Explosions create fear. Calm creates authority. Another important idea is practicing space in small moments. Do not wait for big conflicts. Practice with small triggers. Small practice builds big control. Another truth is that space feels uncomfortable at first. Your body wants to release emotion. Holding space feels strange. Strange does not mean wrong. Strange means new. Another important idea is noticing urges. Urges push you to act. You do not have to obey urges. Urges rise. Urges fall. You stay. Staying is strength. Another truth is that space reduces regret. Most regret comes from fast reactions. Few regrets come from calm pauses. Another important idea is separating feeling from action. You can feel angry. You do not have to act angry. Feeling is allowed. Action is choice. Choice is power. Another truth is that space protects relationships. Many relationships are damaged by words said too fast. Space saves words. Another important idea is that space increases self-trust. Each time you pause, you prove you can control yourself. Self-trust builds confidence. Another truth is that space makes you less reactive over time. Your nervous system learns safety. Safety becomes baseline. Baseline calm becomes identity. Another important idea is that space is invisible power. Others may not see it. You feel it. This internal power is real. Another truth is that space gives you leverage. You can choose to speak. You can choose silence. Silence can be powerful. Another important idea is that space makes you dangerous in a quiet way. Not aggressive, not loud, but unmovable. Another truth is that people who control space control pace. Pace controls conversation. Conversation control is social power. Another important idea is that space allows strategy. Reactors think short-term. Responders think long-term. Long-term thinking wins. Another truth is that space is a skill. Skills improve with practice. Another important idea is building a ritual. When triggered, always do the same thing. Breathe, pause, relax jaw. This ritual trains automatic calm. Another truth is that space changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as reactive. You start seeing yourself as steady. Steady becomes your new normal. Another important idea is patience. Learning space takes time. You will fail sometimes. Failure is feedback. Feedback improves skill. Another truth is that space is freedom. Freedom from being controlled. Freedom from impulse. Freedom from regret. Another important idea is noticing wins. Every paused reaction is a win. Wins build confidence. Another truth is that space creates emotional strength. Strength is quiet. Quiet strength is dangerous confidence. Another important idea is that space allows you to observe others. Observation gives information. Information is power. Another truth is that space makes you less predictable. Unpredictability increases respect. Another important idea is that space builds leadership presence. Leaders pause, followers react. Another truth is that space is the gateway to self-mastery. Self-mastery is real confidence. When you master space, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, no one else can control you. That is how dangerous confidence begins to take form. Chapter 3. Why silence is one of your strongest weapons. Most people are afraid of silence. They see it as weakness, as awkwardness, as losing control. In truth, silence is strength. Silence creates pressure for others, not for you. When you speak less, you reveal less. When you reveal less, you protect your position. This is not about manipulation. It is about control of self. People who fill every gap give away information. Information is power. Silence keeps power. Another truth is this: silence forces others to show themselves. When you stay quiet, others often talk more. They explain, they justify, they reveal emotions. You learn, they expose. This gives you advantage. Another important idea is that silence slows emotional momentum. When someone is emotional, silence removes fuel. Emotion needs reaction. No reaction, no fuel. Without fuel, emotion fades. Another truth is that silence keeps you from saying things you regret. Regret often comes from words spoken too fast. Silence saves you from yourself. Another important idea is that silence creates mystery. People respect what they cannot read easily. Predictable people are easy to manage. Silent people are harder to control. Hard to control equals powerful. Another truth is that silence is a filter. Only important words pass. This makes your words carry more weight. People listen more when you speak less. Another important idea is that silence protects dignity. When emotions rise, dignity falls. Silence keeps dignity intact. Dignity builds authority. Another truth is that silence trains your nervous system. Each time you stay silent under pressure, your body learns calm. Calm becomes default. Default calm is real power. Another important idea is that silence is not passive. It is active control. You are choosing not to react. Choice is strength. Another truth is that silence gives you time. Time to think, time to feel, time to decide. Decision beats impulse. Another important idea is that silence exposes manipulation. Manipulators rely on reactions. If you do not react, their tools fail. Failure of tools reveals intent. Intent gives clarity. Another truth is that silence can be louder than words. It can show boundaries. It can show disapproval. It can show strength, all without saying anything. Another important idea is that silence keeps you from emotional traps. Traps are set with words. Reacting steps into traps. Silence steps around them. Another truth is that silence makes you less readable. Less readable means less predictable. Less predictable means harder to control. Another important idea is that silence increases emotional discipline. Discipline creates strength. Strength creates confidence. Another truth is that silence protects energy. Speaking drains energy. Arguing drains energy. Silence conserves energy. Energy is power. Another important idea is that silence allows observation. You notice tone. You notice body language. You notice patterns. Patterns reveal truth. Another truth is that silence shifts power dynamics. The one who reacts usually holds less power. The one who stays calm holds more. Another important idea is that silence reduces conflict. Most conflicts need two reactions. Remove one. Conflict weakens. Another truth is that silence can reset conversations. When things get heated, silence cools. Cooling allows reason. Reason wins. Another important idea is that silence builds self-respect. You show yourself that you are not controlled. Self-respect strengthens identity. Another truth is that silence is uncomfortable for people who seek control. They want reaction. No reaction frustrates them. Frustration exposes insecurity. Another important idea is that silence helps you avoid emotional bargaining. Bargaining weakens position. Silence holds position. Another truth is that silence gives you space to choose words carefully. Careful words have more impact. Impact builds influence. Another important idea is that silence is a boundary. You are saying, I will not engage emotionally right now. Boundaries protect confidence. Another truth is that silence creates gravity. People take you more seriously. Serious presence commands attention. Another important idea is that silence is not weakness. It is restraint. Restraint is advanced strength. Another truth is that silence trains patience. Patience strengthens mind. Strong mind controls emotion. Another important idea is that silence removes emotional leaks. Leaks show vulnerability. Silence seals leaks. Another truth is that silence makes you harder to provoke. Provocation relies on reaction. No reaction means no success. Another important idea is that silence helps you win long-term. Short-term reactions feel good. Long-term silence wins. Another truth is that silence is uncomfortable at first. Your body wants to speak. Urge is strong. Resisting urge builds discipline. Discipline builds character. Another important idea is that silence can be kind. Not every silence is cold. Some silences are respectful. Respect builds trust. Another truth is that silence gives you emotional leverage. Leverage is advantage. Another important idea is that silence helps you stay in your frame. Your frame is your mindset. Staying in frame is power. Another truth is that silence forces clarity. Others must be clearer. Clarity reveals truth. Another important idea is that silence is a shield. It protects you from emotional damage. Another truth is that silence is a mirror. People see themselves reflected. Reflection can be uncomfortable. Another important idea is that silence increases your emotional value. People value what is not always available. Availability of reaction lowers value. Controlled silence raises it. Another truth is that silence is part of dangerous confidence. Not loud confidence, not dramatic confidence. Quiet, unshakable confidence. Another important idea is that silence is not about winning arguments. It is about winning control of self. Self-control is the highest form of power. Another truth is that silence becomes easier with practice. At first it feels forced. Later, it feels natural. Natural silence is mastery. Another important idea is that silence creates psychological distance. Distance reduces emotional impact. Another truth is that silence allows you to stay neutral. Neutral is strong. Another important idea is that silence is a form of leadership. Leaders do not fill every space. They allow others to speak. Another truth is that silence protects your future self. Future you will thank you for words you did not say. Another important idea is that silence builds mystery and respect together. Respect lasts longer than noise. Another truth is that silence is not absence. It is presence, strong presence. When you master silence, you master one of the most powerful tools in emotional control. Not to dominate others, but to dominate your impulses. And when you dominate your impulses, you become unmovable. That is dangerous confidence. Chapter 4. Detaching from other people's opinions. One of the fastest ways to lose power is to live inside other people's opinions. A comment, a judgment, a look. If these control how you feel, you are not free. Most people say they do not care what others think, but their emotions show otherwise. True confidence is not pretending not to care. It is learning how to detach. Detachment does not mean coldness. It means independence. Your emotional state is yours, not theirs. When you attach your self-worth to opinions, you hand over control. Control over mood. Control over confidence. Control over peace. Confidence takes that control back. Another truth is this: opinions are not facts. They are reflections of the person who holds them. Their mood, their history, their beliefs. When you treat opinions as truth, you confuse perspective with reality. This confusion weakens you. Another important idea is emotional ownership. You are responsible for your inner world. No one else is. If someone's words can change your identity is fragile. Confidence builds a stronger identity. Another truth is that seeking approval is emotional dependence. Dependence feels safe in the short term, but it weakens you in the long term. Independent confidence is quieter, but stronger. Another important idea is that most people are not thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves. This truth frees you. You are not under constant evaluation. Your mind creates that illusion. Another truth is that opinions change. What someone thinks today may be different tomorrow. If your confidence depends on something that changes, it is unstable. Stable confidence comes from inside. Another important idea is separating feedback from identity. Feedback is information. Identity is who you are. Do not confuse the two. You can learn from feedback without becoming it. Another truth is that people project. They project their fears, their insecurities, their limits. When you take projections personally, you carry burdens that are not yours. Drop them. Another important idea is self-definition. If you do not define yourself, others will. Their definitions will limit you. Confidence comes from choosing your own definition. Another truth is that detachment creates clarity. Without emotional reaction, you see opinions for what they are, just opinions. Another important idea is emotional boundaries. Boundaries protect peace. Peace supports confidence. Another truth is that approval feels good but is unreliable. It can disappear. If your confidence depends on it, your confidence disappears too. Another important idea is noticing emotional hooks. Some comments trigger you more. These hooks show where you are attached. Awareness allows release. Another truth is that detachment reduces emotional noise. Noise clouds judgment. Clear judgment strengthens power. Another important idea is that detachment allows authenticity. If you are not trying to please, you can be honest. Honesty feels strong. Another truth is that people respect those who are not easily shaken. Unshakable presence commands attention. Another important idea is choosing whose opinions matter. Not all opinions deserve weight. Wisdom is choosing carefully. Another truth is that detachment protects energy. Caring too much drains you. Energy saved can be used to build your life. Another important idea is that detachment reduces fear of judgment. Fear weakens voice. Freedom strengthens it. Another truth is that emotional independence is rare. Rare traits are powerful. Another important idea is letting people misunderstand you. You do not need to correct every wrong idea. Correction drains energy. Confidence. Let some things pass. Another truth is that detachment creates emotional armor, not hard armor. Calm armor. Calm is harder to break. Another important idea is that opinions are often emotional reactions, not thoughtful analysis. Reacting to reactions is pointless. Another truth is that detachment gives you time to choose response. Choice restores power. Another important idea is noticing when you feel the urge to defend. Defense shows attachment. Release the urge. Another truth is that you do not owe everyone an explanation. Explanations invite debate. Debate invites emotional drain. Another important idea is that detachment allows you to move forward. If you are stuck in what others think, you cannot lead your life. Another truth is that people will always have opinions. You cannot control that. You can control your response. Another important idea is that detachment is practice. At first, opinions still sting. Over time, they lose power. Another truth is that detachment does not mean you ignore all feedback. It means you choose consciously. Choice is strength. Another important idea is trusting your values. Values are stronger than opinions. Another truth is that detachment reduces emotional volatility. Stability increases confidence. Another important idea is that detachment creates inner quiet. Quiet allows focus. Focus builds results. Another truth is that opinions fade. Your life continues. Another important idea is noticing peace when you stop caring about every judgment. Peace is power. Another truth is that detachment makes you harder to control. Control relies on emotional hooks. No hooks, no control. Another important idea is that detachment strengthens identity. Strong identity creates confidence. Another truth is that detachment is not arrogance. It is self-respect. Another important idea is that self-respect attracts respect. Another truth is that detachment is freedom. Freedom from emotional chains. Another important idea is that detachment allows you to be consistent. Consistency builds trust. Another truth is that detachment reduces overthinking. Overthinking weakens action. Another important idea is that detachment protects your future. You are not stuck in others' past opinions. Another truth is that detachment gives you emotional leadership. You lead your inner world. Another important idea is that detachment feels uncomfortable at first. Comfort grows with practice. Another truth is that detachment is a form of strength training for the mind. Each release makes you stronger. Another important idea is that detachment allows you to stay calm under pressure. Calm under pressure is dangerous confidence. Another truth is that detachment is choosing peace over approval. Peace lasts longer. When you detach from other people's opinions, something shifts. Your mood stabilizes. Your confidence strengthens. Your reactions slow. You stop living in their minds. You start living in your own. And when you live in your own, you cannot be controlled. That is real power. That is dangerous confidence. Chapter 5. Becoming unbothered in situations that used to trigger you. There is a moment in growth that feels strange. Things that once upset you stop having power. Not because they disappeared, but because you changed. This is what becoming unbothered really means. It does not mean nothing matters. It means fewer things control you. Most people believe being unbothered is pretending not to care. That is acting. Real unbothered energy is quiet. It comes from inner stability. Inner stability is built, not faked. Another truth is this: triggers are not random. They point to emotional attachment. Where you react, you are attached. Attachment gives situations power over you. Releasing attachment removes that power. Another important idea is desensitization. The more calmly you face triggers, the weaker they become. Avoidance keeps triggers strong. Exposure weakens them. This does not mean chasing discomfort. It means staying present when discomfort appears. Presence teaches your nervous system safety. Safety reduces reaction. Another truth is that becoming unbothered is a process. It does not happen overnight. Old triggers may still appear. The difference is how long they stay. They stay shorter. Shorter reactions mean growth. Another important idea is emotional conditioning. Your past trained you to react. New behavior retrains you. Each calm response rewires patterns. Patterns shape emotional future. Another truth is that being unbothered increases respect. People notice when you do not react. They sense stability. Stability feels powerful. Another important idea is energy conservation. Reacting wastes energy. Being unbothered saves it. Saved energy can be used for building goals. Another truth is that being unbothered protects dignity. You do not lower yourself emotionally. Dignity strengthens presence. Another important idea is emotional neutrality. Neutrality is not cold. It is balanced. Balance allows clear thinking. Clear thinking improves decisions. Another truth is that being unbothered reduces drama. Drama feeds on reaction. No reaction, no fuel. Drama dies. Another important idea is noticing emotional hooks. Certain words, certain people, certain situations. Hooks reveal where growth is needed. Growth happens at hooks. Another truth is that being unbothered is a signal to yourself. It says, I am in control. Control builds confidence. Another important idea is emotional patience. Let emotions pass. They always do. Waiting them out is strength. Another truth is that becoming unbothered changes identity. You stop seeing yourself as reactive. You start seeing yourself as steady. Steady becomes your new normal. Another important idea is that being unbothered creates psychological distance. Distance reduces emotional charge. Reduced charge means calm. Another truth is that people test boundaries. When they see you do not react, tests stop. Respect replaces testing. Another important idea is not explaining your calm. Explaining weakens it. Calm stands on its own. Another truth is that being unbothered is learned confidence. It is earned through experience. Another important idea is emotional economy. Spend emotional energy where it matters. Save it where it does not. Another truth is that being unbothered allows focus. Focus builds results. Results build confidence. Another important idea is that being unbothered improves health. Less stress, better sleep, clearer mind. Health supports power. Another truth is that being unbothered creates emotional safety for others. They feel calm around you. Calm presence attracts trust. Another important idea is observing your reactions without judgment. Observation weakens patterns. Judgment strengthens them. Another truth is that becoming unbothered makes you less predictable. Unpredictability increases influence. Another important idea is emotional detachment again. Not coldness, clarity. Clarity protects peace. Another truth is that being unbothered allows you to choose battles. Not every situation deserves energy. Choosing wisely is strength. Another important idea is noticing when you no longer need to prove anything. Proof-seeking comes from insecurity. Security removes the need. Another truth is that being unbothered changes how people treat you. They sense boundaries. Boundaries create respect. Another important idea is allowing people to be wrong. Their wrong does not need your reaction. Another truth is that being unbothered is freedom. Freedom from emotional chains. Another important idea is trusting your growth. You are changing even if you cannot feel it daily. Another truth is that becoming unbothered reduces anxiety. Anxiety feeds on reaction. Calm starves it. Another important idea is emotional maturity. Maturity is quiet. Quiet maturity is powerful. Another truth is that being unbothered builds emotional authority. Authority creates presence. Another important idea is practicing neutrality in small moments. Small moments train big calm. Another truth is that being unbothered protects your future self. Future you benefits from calm choices. Another important idea is releasing the need to be understood. Understanding is nice, not required. Another truth is that being unbothered allows you to stay in your lane. Your lane is your life. Another important idea is noticing how peace feels. Peace is addictive in a good way. Another truth is that being unbothered makes you harder to manipulate. Manipulation needs reaction. Another important idea is allowing emotions without acting on them. Feeling without reacting is strength. Another truth is that being unbothered is a form of emotional intelligence. Intelligence increases power. Another important idea is patience again. Growth is gradual. Another truth is that being unbothered creates quiet confidence. Quiet confidence is dangerous confidence. Not loud, not dramatic, steady, unshakable. When you become unbothered, your life feels lighter. You carry less emotional weight. You move with more clarity. You respond instead of react. And when you respond instead of react, you take your power back. That is how dangerous confidence becomes part of who you are. Chapter 6. Controlling your emotions instead of letting them control you. Most people believe emotions control them. They think emotions just happen. They think there is nothing they can do. This belief keeps them powerless. Emotions are real, but they do not have to be in charge. Feeling is automatic. Action is optional. This difference changes everything. You cannot stop emotions from rising, but you can decide what happens next. That decision is emotional control. Emotional control is not suppression. It is direction. Suppression pushes feelings down. They come back stronger. Control allows feelings to exist without letting them lead. Another truth is this: emotions are signals, not commands. Anger signals a boundary. Fear signals risk. Sadness signals loss. Signals give information. They do not give orders. When you treat emotions like orders, you lose authority. When you treat them like data, you gain clarity. Another important idea is separating emotion from identity. You feel angry. You are not anger. You feel anxious. You are not anxiety. This separation creates space. Space gives choice. Choice gives power. Another truth is that emotional control is learned. No one is born with it. People who seem calm train themselves. Training is available to you too. Another important idea is naming emotions. When you name what you feel, intensity drops. You can say inside, this is anger, this is frustration. Naming creates distance. Distance weakens emotional grip. Another truth is that emotions move in waves. They rise, they peak, they fall. If you ride the wave without acting, it passes. If you act at the peak, you regret it. Waiting is strength. Another important idea is body regulation. Your body leads emotion. If your body is tense, emotion stays intense. Relaxing the body calms emotion. Slow breath, relaxed shoulders, loose jaw. These small actions reduce emotional charge. Another truth is that emotional control protects your future. Many people damage relationships and opportunities with emotional reactions. One moment can cost years. Control prevents this. Another important idea is emotional honesty. Control does not mean lying to yourself. You admit what you feel. You just do not let it drive. Another truth is that emotions are temporary. They feel permanent. They are not. Remembering this reduces urgency. Another important idea is emotional discipline. Discipline is choosing long-term over short-term relief. Short-term relief feels good. Long-term cost is high. Control chooses long-term strength. Another truth is that controlling emotions builds self-respect. You trust yourself more. Self-trust strengthens confidence. Another important idea is noticing patterns. Certain people trigger you. Certain topics trigger you. Patterns show where work is needed. Awareness weakens patterns. Another truth is that emotional control reduces stress. Stress comes from emotional chaos. Order creates calm. Calm improves thinking. Another important idea is reframing emotion. Instead of "I am angry," think "I am feeling anger." This small shift reduces identity attachment. Another truth is that emotional control increases influence. People listen to calm voices. They ignore emotional explosions. Another important idea is practicing in low-stakes moments. Do not wait for big conflicts. Practice with small annoyances. Small wins train big control. Another truth is that emotional control makes you unpredictable. Unpredictability increases respect. Another important idea is that control does not mean being emotionless. You still feel, you just choose expression. Expression without control is chaos. Expression with control is power. Another truth is that emotional control protects your image. People remember how you handle pressure. Pressure reveals character. Control shows strength. Another important idea is emotional patience. Let emotions sit. Do not rush to act. Sitting with emotion builds tolerance. Tolerance builds strength. Another truth is that emotional control reduces regret. Most regret comes from emotional action. Another important idea is recognizing emotional addiction. Some people are addicted to emotional intensity. Intensity feels alive, but it drains life. Calm feels boring at first. Calm is actually power. Another truth is that emotional control improves decision-making. Clear mind makes better choices. Better choices build better life. Another important idea is that control creates inner stability. Stability makes you harder to shake. Another truth is that emotional control is leadership over self. Self-leadership is real confidence. Another important idea is not explaining your emotions to justify reactions. Justification weakens discipline. Discipline does not need explanation. Another truth is that emotional control is freedom. Freedom from being pushed around by feelings. Another important idea is accepting discomfort. Control often feels uncomfortable. Comfort grows later. Another truth is that emotional control builds long-term respect. People trust those who stay steady. Another important idea is practicing emotional delay. Delay action by minutes. Minutes create clarity. Another truth is that emotional control creates emotional maturity. Maturity feels powerful. Another important idea is recognizing that emotions lie sometimes. They exaggerate. Control waits for truth. Another truth is that emotional control makes you less reactive. Less reactive means more strategic. Another important idea is that emotional control is trainable every day. Each trigger is practice. Another truth is that emotional control builds dangerous confidence. Not loud confidence, not aggressive confidence. Quiet control, steady presence, unshakable energy. When you control your emotions, you stop being a slave to the moment. You stop being pulled by every feeling. You become the one who decides, and the one who decides holds the real power. That is how dangerous confidence becomes real. Chapter 7. Letting go of the need to prove yourself. The need to prove yourself is one of the biggest drains on confidence. It hides inside many reactions. You want to look strong. You want to look smart. You want to look respected. So you explain. You defend. You argue. This proving feels natural. But proving is weakness in disguise. When you try to prove, you signal doubt. Not to others, to yourself. True confidence does not need proof. It stands without explanation. Another truth is this: the need to prove comes from insecurity. Insecurity looks for validation. Validation feels good for a moment, then it fades. Then you need more. This creates emotional dependence. Dependence weakens identity. Strong identity does not beg for approval. Another important idea is that proving gives others power. When you try to prove, you let others decide your worth. They become judges. You become the one on trial. This is a weak position. Confidence removes itself from trial. Another truth is that not everyone deserves an explanation. Explanations invite debate. Debate invites emotional drain. Silence and calm often speak louder than defense. Another important idea is that proving keeps you reactive. Someone questions you. You react to defend. Defense is reaction. Reaction gives control away. Non-reaction keeps control. Another truth is that proving traps you in other people's frame. You start playing their game, their rules, their standards. Confidence plays its own game. Another important idea is that proving often comes from fear of being misunderstood. Misunderstanding is uncomfortable, but trying to control understanding is exhausting. You cannot control what people think. Trying to do so weakens you. Another truth is that proving keeps you small. You shrink to fit others' expectations. Strong people do not shrink. They stay grounded. Another important idea is that proving invites disrespect. When you over-explain, some people see weakness. They push more. Calm boundaries. Stop this. Another truth is that proving makes you chase approval. Chasing never feels powerful. Choosing feels powerful. Another important idea is emotional economy again. Proving wastes emotional energy. Energy is better spent building your life. Another truth is that confident people let results speak. Results do not argue. Results do not explain. They simply exist. Another important idea is that proving often comes from old wounds, moments where you were doubted. Your mind wants to fix the past. The past cannot be fixed. The present can be led. Another truth is that letting go of proving feels uncomfortable. Your ego wants to speak. Your ego wants to correct. Resisting ego builds strength. Another important idea is trusting yourself. If you trust yourself, you do not need others to confirm it. Self-trust is quiet power. Another truth is that proving creates emotional hooks. Others learn how to trigger you. They question you to get reaction. No proving, no hook. Another important idea is that proving makes you predictable. Predictability reduces power. Calm unpredictability increases it. Another truth is that letting go of proving does not mean being weak. It means being selective. You choose when to speak. Choice is power. Another important idea is that proving often sounds like over-talking. Over-talking leaks insecurity. Short, calm responses show strength. Another truth is that confident silence can feel threatening to insecure people. Let them be uncomfortable. Your job is not to manage their comfort. Another important idea is that proving keeps you stuck in comparison. You try to show you are better. Comparison is endless. Confidence exits comparison. Another truth is that proving creates emotional exhaustion. You are always on defense. Defense is tiring. Offensive life goals is energizing. Another important idea is noticing when you feel the urge to explain. That urge is a signal. Pause. Ask yourself if explanation is needed. Often, it is not. Another truth is that letting go of proving builds mystery. Mystery increases respect. Respect strengthens presence. Another important idea is that proving keeps you in the past. You try to correct all judgments. Living in the past weakens the present. Another truth is that confident people accept being misunderstood sometimes. They trust that time will reveal truth. Time is more powerful than words. Another important idea is that proving can turn small situations into big ones. Big emotions for small issues. Calm keeps things small. Another truth is that letting go of proving allows emotional independence. Independence feels strong. Another important idea is that proving is often tied to ego. Ego wants to win. Winning emotionally often costs peace. Peace is more valuable than winning. Another truth is that you do not owe everyone your story. Your story is yours. Protect it. Another important idea is that proving makes you react to disrespect. Sometimes silence is the strongest response to disrespect. Silence shows you are not moved. Another truth is that letting go of proving frees your mind. Free mind thinks better. Better thinking builds better outcomes. Another important idea is trusting that your value is not created by argument. Your value exists. Argument does not increase it. Another truth is that proving creates emotional noise. Noise blocks clarity. Clarity is power. Another important idea is that letting go of proving is an act of self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation of confidence. Another truth is that proving attracts people who want to test you. They sense reaction. No proving reduces tests. Another important idea is that you can choose calm confidence over loud defense. Calm lasts longer. Another truth is that letting go of proving allows you to focus forward. Forward focus builds life. Backward focus drains it. Another important idea is that you become harder to manipulate when you stop proving. Manipulation needs reaction. no reaction, no leverage. Another truth is that letting go of proving strengthens emotional boundaries. Boundaries protect peace. Another important idea is that your silence can be your strength. Not all silence, chosen silence. Another truth is that proving makes you seek closure in arguments. Closure is rare. Peace is easier. Choose peace. Another important idea is that letting go of proving increases confidence naturally. You feel lighter. You feel steadier. Another truth is that people respect those who do not chase validation. Validation chasers look uncertain. Certainty is quiet. Another important idea is trusting your long-term path. Your life will show who you are. You do not need to announce it. Another truth is that letting go of proving feels like losing at first. It is not losing. It is stepping out of a weak game. Another important idea is that real power does not argue. It moves. Another truth is that letting go of proving helps you stay emotionally centered. Centered people are hard to shake. Another important idea is noticing the peace that comes when you stop explaining. Peace is a signal of strength. Another truth is that letting go of proving creates inner authority. Authority does not beg. Another important idea is that you can still stand up for yourself without proving. Boundaries do not require long speeches. Simple firmness is enough. Another truth is that letting go of proving allows your actions to speak. Actions are louder than words. Another important idea is that proving keeps you stuck in emotional loops. Letting go breaks the loop. Another truth is that letting go of proving is a major step toward dangerous confidence. Not loud confidence, not defensive confidence, quiet certainty, calm presence. When you no longer feel the need to prove yourself, something powerful happens. Your energy shifts, your reactions slow, your confidence deepens. You stop seeking permission to be who you are. You become grounded in who you already are. And a person who does not need to prove themselves is very hard to shake. That is dangerous confidence. Chapter 8. Staying calm when others try to provoke you. One of the final tests of dangerous confidence is provocation. When someone tries to get a reaction from you, they push, they tease, they criticize, they disrespect, not always directly, sometimes subtly. Provocation is a game. Most people lose because they do not realize it is a game. The goal of provocation is simple: to pull you out of your center. If you react emotionally, the provoker wins, not because they are right, but because they moved you. Movement without choice is weakness. Calm without reaction is power. Another truth is this: provocation often comes from insecurity. Confident people do not need to provoke. They do not need reactions to feel strong. Provokers seek emotional proof of their impact. If you give them reaction, you feed them. No reaction starves them. Another important idea is recognizing bait. Bait looks like disrespect. Bait looks like sarcasm. Bait looks like subtle digs. Once you see bait, you stop swallowing it. Awareness breaks the trap. Another truth is that your ego wants to respond. Ego wants to defend image. Image defense is weakness. Identity defense is strength. You do not need to protect image. Your character protects itself. Another important idea is separating content from intent. What they say may matter less than why they say it. If intent is to provoke, content is secondary. Do not argue content. Ignore intent. Ignoring intent removes power. Another truth is that calm frustrates provokers. They expect emotion. They expect defense. When they get nothing, they feel loss of control. Loss of control reveals their weakness. Another important idea is choosing silence strategically. Silence is not surrender. Silence is refusal to play. Refusal to play is power. Another truth is that calm body language matters. Relaxed face, steady posture, normal tone. Your body signals that you are unmoved. Unmoved presence ends games. Another important idea is internal framing. You can think, this is a test. Tests are opportunities to build strength. Each test passed builds identity. Another truth is that provocation is not personal. It feels personal. It is rarely about you. It is about their need for control or validation. Do not carry their need. Another important idea is delaying response. If you feel heat, Pause. Heat fades, clarity returns, clarity wins. Another truth is that responding calmly does not mean agreeing. You can disagree without emotion. Calm disagreement is powerful. Emotional disagreement looks weak. Another important idea is choosing battles. Not every provocation deserves response. Response gives importance. Silence removes importance. Another truth is that provocation exposes character. How you respond shows who you are. You can show strength, or you can show reactivity. Another important idea is self-respect. Do not lower yourself to emotional exchanges. Your level matters. Stay above emotional noise. Another truth is that calm creates psychological dominance, not through aggression, through stability. Stable people are harder to shake. Another important idea is not explaining your calm. Explaining weakens it. Calm does not need explanation. Another truth is that provokers escalate when ignored. This is normal. It is a test. Hold steady. Escalation often means they are losing. Another important idea is observing patterns. If someone repeatedly provokes, distance may be needed. Distance is self-respect. Another truth is that provocation triggers old wounds. Old wounds react faster. Healing reduces trigger power. Another important idea is grounding again. Feel your breath. Feel your body. Stay in your body. Provocation pulls you into emotion. Body brings you back to control. Another truth is that calm under provocation builds reputation. People notice. They see who is steady. Steady people gain respect. Another important idea is not trying to win verbally. Winning verbally often costs emotionally. True win is staying centered. Another truth is that provocation is a mirror. It shows you where growth is needed. Triggers reveal training points. Another important idea is that calm is contagious. Others may calm down when you stay calm. Leadership energy spreads. Another truth is that provocation often fades when it stops working. No reward, no behavior. This is simple psychology. Another important idea is trusting your restraint. Restraint is strength. Another truth is that you do not need to teach people lessons. Your calm teaches silently. Another important idea is letting go of last word. Last word often belongs to ego. Peace belongs to strength. Another truth is that calm gives you time. Time gives you options. Options give you power. Another important idea is recognizing emotional traps. Traps are designed to steal your focus. Do not give focus. Focus is energy. Energy is power. Another truth is that provocation is often a sign of respect in a twisted way. They test those they see as strong. Stay strong. Another important idea is practicing calm in small provocations. Small practice prepares for big tests. Another truth is that calm does not mean weakness. It means control. Control is dangerous confidence. Another important idea is remembering your long-term identity. You are becoming unshakable. Short-term reactions slow that process. Another truth is that provocation is temporary. Your identity is long-term. Choose long-term. Another important idea is self-talk. You can tell yourself, I am in control. This reinforces identity. Another truth is that provocation is emotional noise. Noise is ignored by focused people. Another important idea is not taking the bait personally. Personalizing gives power. Neutralizing removes it. Another truth is that staying calm is a form of emotional dominance, not over others, over yourself. Another important idea is choosing dignity over drama. Dignity lasts. Drama fades. Another truth is that provocation can become respect when you do not react. They may stop. They may change tone. They may move on. All outcomes are fine. Another important idea is trusting your growth. Each calm response strengthens your nervous system. Another truth is that you will sometimes fail. You will react. That does not cancel progress. Learn, reset, continue. Another important idea is seeing provocation as training. Training makes you stronger. Another truth is that calm makes you harder to manipulate. Manipulation needs emotional entry. No entry, no control. Another important idea is keeping your frame. Your frame is your mindset. Stay in your frame. Another truth is that provocation tests your boundaries. Strong boundaries reduce tests. Another important idea is noticing the peace that comes after not reacting. Peace is feedback. Another truth is that calm presence changes power dynamics. Power shifts quietly. Another important idea is letting go of ego victories. Ego wants to win arguments. Confidence wants to win control. Another truth is that control always beats reaction. Another important idea is remembering who you are becoming. Unbothered, steady, dangerously calm. When others try to provoke you and you stay centered, something powerful happens. You do not just win the moment. You build identity. An identity that says, I am not controlled. I am not reactive. I choose. And a person who chooses under pressure is a person with dangerous confidence. That is real power. Chapter 9. Letting time do the work for you. One of the most underrated sources of power is time. Not rushing, not forcing, not reacting immediately. Time is a filter. When you allow time, weak emotions fade. Strong truth remains. Most people rush because they feel pressure. Pressure to reply, pressure to explain, pressure to act. Rushing feels productive, but rushing is often emotional. Emotional action is rarely strategic. Time turns emotion into clarity. Clarity leads to better decisions. Another truth is this: time exposes reality. What feels urgent now often feels small later. If you act in urgency, you act in distortion. If you wait, you act in truth. Truth is stronger than urgency. Another important idea is emotional cooling. Strong emotions are hot. Hot minds make poor choices. Time cools the mind. Cool minds see options. Options create power. Another truth is that time reveals people's real intentions. Some people test you to get quick reactions. If you do not react, their intent becomes clear. They either back off or they escalate. Both give you information. Information is power. Another important idea is that time protects your words. Words said later are often wiser. Words said now are often emotional. Wise words build reputation. Emotional words damage it. Another truth is that waiting is not weakness. Waiting is control. Control of impulse. Control of emotion. Control of image. People who cannot wait are easy to manipulate. People who can wait are hard to move. Another important idea is delayed response. Not every message needs instant reply. Not every comment needs instant answer. Delaying shows independence. Independence feels powerful. Another truth is that time gives you perspective. Perspective shrinks problems. Small problems do not deserve big reactions. Time shows size. Another important idea is emotional distance. Distance reduces emotional charge. Charge fuels mistakes. Time creates distance. Another truth is that patience builds authority. Impatient people look reactive. Patient people look steady. Steady presence attracts respect. Another important idea is that time trains your nervous system. Each time you wait, your body learns safety. Safety reduces urgency. Urgency creates reaction. Another truth is that time reduces ego. Ego wants to speak now. Ego wants to win now. Time weakens ego. Clarity strengthens character. Another important idea is that time allows strategy. Strategy needs calm. Calm comes with waiting. Another truth is that many conflicts solve themselves with time. If you do nothing, intensity fades. Doing nothing is sometimes the strongest move. Another important idea is that time protects your future self. Future you benefits from present restraint. Present you may want release. Future you wants peace. Choose future you. Another truth is that time reveals what really matters. If it still matters later, address it. If it fades, it was never worth your energy. Energy is precious. Another important idea is emotional maturity. Maturity waits. Immaturity reacts. Maturity feels powerful. Another truth is that time creates emotional leverage. When you are not rushed, you lead pace. Pace control is social power. Another important idea is noticing how many regrets come from rushed actions. Few regrets come from waiting. Another truth is that time gives space for better identity. You become known as calm. Calm reputation builds influence. Another important idea is letting silence sit. Silence over time becomes message. Message of strength. Message of boundaries. Another truth is that time reduces attachment. Attachment fuels reaction. Reduced attachment creates peace. Another important idea is allowing emotions to pass naturally. Do not chase relief. Relief comes with time. Another truth is that time trains you to trust yourself. You learn you can handle discomfort. Discomfort is temporary. Strength is permanent. Another important idea is that time helps you avoid emotional traps. Traps rely on urgency. No urgency, no trap. Another truth is that waiting gives you choice. Choice gives you control. Control builds confidence. Another important idea is observing how others react while you wait. Their reactions reveal character. Character information is useful. Another truth is that time makes you less predictable. Unpredictable timing increases influence. Another important idea is patience with growth. Your emotional strength grows slowly. Time is part of training. Another truth is that time builds emotional armor. Not hard armor, soft armor, calm armor. Another important idea is trusting the process. You are becoming someone who does not rush. That identity takes time to solidify. Another truth is that time changes how people treat you. They learn you are not impulsive. They approach you differently. Another important idea is that waiting increases the value of your words. When you speak less, people listen more. Another truth is that time protects relationships. Many relationships are damaged by rushed words. Time saves them. Another important idea is seeing waiting as action. Waiting is not doing nothing. Waiting is choosing strength. Another truth is that time makes you less emotionally available for manipulation. Manipulators need fast reactions. You do not give them that. Another important idea is remembering that urgency is often created by others. Do not accept their timeline. Choose yours. Another truth is that time gives you emotional breathing room. Breathing room reduces pressure. Another important idea is letting moments pass. Not every moment needs response. Another truth is that patience builds dangerous confidence. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence, unrushed confidence. Another important idea is noticing peace after waiting. Peace is feedback. Another truth is that time is on your side when you control yourself. Another important idea is that waiting shows self-respect. Self-respect strengthens identity. Another truth is that time reveals truth more clearly than emotion ever will. Another important idea is that time turns reaction into response. Response is power. Reaction is weakness. Another truth is that learning to wait is learning to lead yourself. Self-leadership is dangerous confidence. Another important idea is remembering that you are not late. You do not need to rush to prove anything. Another truth is that time separates impulse from intention. Intention is stronger. Another important idea is allowing space for wisdom. Wisdom needs time. Another truth is that people who rush are controlled by emotion. People who wait control emotion. Another important idea is building a habit of delay. Delay becomes identity. Identity becomes strength. Another truth is that time is a teacher. It teaches what matters. It teaches what does not. Another important idea is trusting that you do not need to act now to be powerful. Power grows when you choose when to act. Another truth is that letting time work for you makes you calmer, sharper, and harder to move. You stop being pushed by moments. You start leading them. And a person who controls time in their reactions controls their life. That is dangerous confidence. Chapter 10. Becoming emotionally untouchable. There is a level of confidence where outside events stop reaching your core. People can talk. Situations can change. Pressure can rise. But inside, you stay steady. This is emotional untouchability. It does not mean nothing affects you. It means fewer things control you. Most people live with open emotional doors. Anyone can walk in. Any comment can disturb them. Any delay can shake them. Emotionally untouchable people close those doors, not with anger, not with walls, with clarity. Another truth is this: you become untouchable when you stop tying your identity to outcomes. If things go well, you feel good. If things go badly, you feel small. This creates emotional dependence. Untouchable confidence separates identity from outcome. Win or lose, praise or criticism, your core stays the same. Another important idea is inner validation. When you validate yourself, outside validation loses power. You no longer need approval to feel steady. Approval becomes extra, not required. Another truth is that emotional untouchability comes from self-trust. When you trust yourself, other people's opinions feel lighter. You know who you are. Their words cannot rewrite that. Another important idea is emotional boundaries again. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. Not everything is allowed inside. You choose what enters your emotional space. Choice is power. Another truth is that emotional untouchability grows when you stop personalizing. Not everything is about you. Most things are about others' moods, stress and issues. Personalizing gives unnecessary power. Neutralizing removes it. Another important idea is inner stability. Stability is built through consistency. Consistent calm, consistent values, consistent behavior. Stability makes you hard to shake. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people feel emotions. They just do not drown in them. They stand in emotion. They do not disappear into it. Standing is strength. Another important idea is not seeking emotional reassurance from others. Reassurance creates dependence. Self-reassurance creates independence. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people are not easily offended. Offense requires attachment. Detachment removes offense. Another important idea is emotional self-respect. You respect your inner state too much to hand it over. This respect changes how you react. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people choose their emotional investments. They do not invest in chaos. They invest in growth. Another important idea is recognizing emotional traps. Drama, gossip, arguments. These traps exist to pull emotion. Untouchable people step around them. Another truth is that emotional untouchability makes you calm under pressure. Pressure reveals who is in control. Control builds reputation. Another important idea is inner silence, not outer silence. Inner quiet. Inner quiet means fewer emotional storms. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people are not easily shaken by praise either. Praise does not inflate them. Criticism does not shrink them. Balance is power. Another important idea is emotional independence. Independence feels strong. Dependence feels fragile. Another truth is that emotional untouchability grows from repeated calm choices. Each calm choice strengthens the identity. Identity becomes stable. Another important idea is letting go of emotional bargaining. You do not trade peace for approval. Peace is more valuable. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people are hard to manipulate. Manipulation needs emotional access. Access is closed. Another important idea is staying grounded in values. Values are anchors. Anchors keep you steady. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people do not chase emotional highs. High emotion creates crash. Steady emotion creates endurance. Another important idea is long-term identity. You are becoming someone steady. Short-term emotions do not define you. Another truth is that emotional untouchability feels boring at first. Boring compared to drama. Boring compared to chaos. But boring is peaceful. Peace is powerful. Another important idea is not reacting to emotional tests. Tests lose meaning when they fail. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people protect their inner space. They are selective. Selectiveness builds strength. Another important idea is self-awareness. When you know your triggers, you can guard them. Guarding reduces power of triggers. Another truth is that emotional untouchability is quiet dominance, not over people.
Over self.
Another important idea is noticing emotional relief. Relief comes when you stop carrying others' emotions. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people are not cold. They are warm with control. Warmth with boundaries. Another important idea is letting emotions pass through instead of stick. Flow prevents buildup. Another truth is that emotional untouchability changes how you walk into rooms. Your presence is calmer. People feel it. Another important idea is that emotional untouchability is trained daily. Every trigger is practice. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people do not need to win emotional battles. They win control. Another important idea is that emotional untouchability protects your focus. Focus builds life. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people are consistent. Consistency creates trust. Trust creates influence. Another important idea is that emotional untouchability makes you harder to exhaust. Emotional exhaustion comes from reaction. Control conserves energy. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people are resilient. They bend. They do not break. Another important idea is that emotional untouchability feels like freedom. Freedom from emotional chains. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people still care. They just choose what deserves care. Choice is strength. Another important idea is that emotional untouchability makes you less reactive over time. Reactivity fades. Stability remains. Another truth is that emotionally untouchable people lead emotionally. Others follow their calm. Another important idea is that emotional untouchability builds dangerous confidence. Not loud, not aggressive, quiet, unmovable. When you become emotionally untouchable, the world can move. People can talk. Situations can change. But inside you remain steady. That steadiness is rare. That steadiness is powerful. That steadiness is dangerous confidence. Chapter 11. Mastering the art of not needing closure. One of the hidden traps that keeps people emotionally weak is the need for closure. You want answers. You want explanations. You want apologies. You want things to make sense. This desire feels natural. But needing closure gives other people power over your peace. When your calm depends on someone else's words, you are not in control. True confidence does not wait for permission to move on. It moves on by choice. Another truth is this: most people will never give you the closure you want, not because they are evil, but because they are unaware, or defensive, or emotionally limited. If your peace depends on their clarity, you may never get peace. Dangerous confidence creates its own closure. Another important idea is that unanswered questions keep emotional doors open. Open doors let old emotions in. Old emotions weaken present strength. Closing the door is a decision, not a conversation. Another truth is that closure is often an illusion. You think if you just understand, you will feel better. Understanding sometimes helps. Often, it does not. Emotional release does not always come from answers. It often comes from acceptance. Another important idea is letting go without agreement. You do not need shared understanding to move forward. You only need self-respect. Self-respect gives you permission to release. Another truth is that seeking closure keeps you emotionally tied to the past. The past cannot be fixed. Staying tied drains energy. Energy is needed for building your future. Another important idea is that not needing closure builds emotional independence. You no longer need others to finish your emotional story. You finish it yourself. Another truth is that emotional strength includes unfinished chapters. Life is not a perfect book. Some stories end without explanation. Strong people accept this. Another important idea is recognizing emotional bargaining. You think if they say the right thing, you will heal. Healing does not depend on their words. Healing depends on your decision to let go. Another truth is that not needing closure protects your dignity. Begging for explanations lowers your position. Choosing peace raises it. Another important idea is emotional authority. You decide when something is over, not them. This authority builds confidence. Another truth is that closure seeking often hides hope. Hope that they will change. Hope that they will understand. Hope can keep you stuck. Confidence accepts reality. Another important idea is letting silence be the answer. Silence is information. Silence often means they cannot give what you want. Accepting this frees you. Another truth is that not needing closure reduces emotional loops. Loops keep you replaying. Replay drains energy. Release restores it. Another important idea is emotional boundaries again. You decide what deserves more thought. Not everything does. Another truth is that closure seeking can turn into self-betrayal. You stay stuck to be understood. Understanding is nice. Freedom is better. Another important idea is self-validation. You can validate your own experience. You do not need others to confirm your feelings. Your experience is real because you lived it. Another truth is that emotional maturity means walking away from unfinished conversations, not because you lost, but because you chose peace. Another important idea is trusting your inner decision. If you feel done, you are done. You do not need permission. Another truth is that not needing closure makes you harder to emotionally trap. Traps rely on unresolved emotion. Resolution by self breaks traps. Another important idea is letting go of emotional debts. You do not owe them understanding. They do not owe you explanation. Release the emotional contract. Another truth is that closure is often delayed grief. You are processing loss. Process it privately. Strength grows in private work. Another important idea is time again. Time gives emotional distance. Distance reduces need for explanation. Another truth is that not needing closure builds inner peace. Peace does not need agreement. Another important idea is accepting uncertainty. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. Strength tolerates it. Another truth is that emotional freedom grows when you stop chasing emotional endings. You create endings inside. Another important idea is choosing finality for yourself. You can say internally, "This chapter is closed." Your nervous system listens. Another truth is that not needing closure makes you emotionally lighter. Less weight, more clarity. Another important idea is releasing the fantasy of perfect resolution. Life is messy. Strong people move anyway. Another truth is that closure seeking keeps you emotionally available to people who no longer deserve access. Close access. Protect peace. Another important idea is remembering your worth. You do not need to beg for understanding to be valuable. Another truth is that not needing closure strengthens emotional control. Control means deciding when to stop investing. Another important idea is that peace is more important than being right. Being right feeds ego. Peace feeds strength. Another truth is that not needing closure makes you emotionally untouchable in a deeper way. No loose ends for others to pull. Another important idea is recognizing that silence can be your answer. If they do not respond, that is response. Another truth is that not needing closure is an advanced form of self-respect. You respect your time, your energy, your future. Another important idea is choosing growth over explanation. Growth moves you forward. Explanation keeps you looking back. Another truth is that emotionally strong people do not need the last conversation. They need the last decision. Another important idea is deciding to end emotional attachment without emotional agreement. Agreement is optional. Peace is not. Another truth is that not needing closure makes you emotionally sovereign. You rule your inner world. Another important idea is trusting that you can carry unfinished stories and still be whole. Wholeness does not require perfect endings. Another truth is that letting go without closure is one of the hardest and strongest things you can do. Weak people chase answers. Strong people choose peace. Another important idea is seeing closure as internal, not external. Internal closure is permanent. External closure is unreliable. Another truth is that not needing closure completes your emotional independence. You stop outsourcing peace. Another important idea is recognizing the calm that comes when you stop waiting. Waiting keeps you stuck. Moving on frees you. Another truth is that not needing closure is a major step into dangerous confidence. Not loud, not dramatic, quiet, final, strong. When you no longer need others to finish your emotional stories, you become free. Free from waiting, free from chasing, free from emotional dependence. You move forward with or without answers. And a person who can move forward without closure is a person who cannot be emotionally held hostage. That is dangerous confidence. Chapter 12, Becoming the Person Who Cannot Be Shaken. This is where everything comes together, not as a technique, not as a trick, but as an identity. Dangerous confidence is not something you turn on. It is something you become. You become the person who cannot be shaken, not because life becomes easy, but because you become steady. Situations change, people change, pressure rises and falls, but your center stays. This is real power. Being unshakable does not mean you never feel. It means you do not fall apart. You feel emotions. You do not become them. You experience stress. You do not let it run your life. You hear opinions. You do not let them define you. This is emotional sovereignty. Sovereignty means you rule your inner world. No one else does. Another truth is this: unshakable people are not born. They are built. Built through pauses. Built through silence. Built through restraint. Built through self-respect. Every time you chose not to react, you trained this identity. Every time you waited, you strengthened it. Every time you stayed calm, you reinforced it. Identity is formed through repetition, not through motivation, not through words, through behavior. Another important idea is that being unshakable changes how you see problems. Problems become events, not threats. Events can be handled. Threats create panic. You no longer panic. You assess. Assessment is power. Another truth is that unshakable people do not rush to prove anything. They let time reveal truth. They let actions speak. They let silence work. This makes them feel grounded. Grounded people are hard to move. Another important idea is emotional gravity. When you are steady, others feel it. They slow down around you. They think more. They react less. Your calm becomes the dominant energy. This is leadership, not loud leadership, quiet leadership. Another truth is that being unshakable makes you selective. Selective with energy, selective with attention, selective with emotion. Not everything deserves a response. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not everything deserves access to you. Selectiveness protects power. Another important idea is inner discipline. Discipline is doing what is hard now to make life easier later. Staying calm is hard in the moment, but it makes life easier long term. Reacting feels easy now, but it makes life harder later. Unshakable people choose long-term strength. Another truth is that being unshakable does not mean being perfect. You will still react sometimes. You will still feel triggered sometimes. What changes is recovery. You recover faster. You return to center faster. You do not stay lost in emotion. Fast recovery is strength. Another important idea is self-trust. Unshakable people trust themselves. They trust their judgment. They trust their restraint. They trust their ability to handle discomfort. This trust is built by proving to yourself that you can stay steady. Another truth is that unshakable people do not chase emotional wins. They do not need to win arguments. They do not need to dominate conversations. They win by staying centered. Center is victory. Another important idea is emotional economy. You stop spending emotional energy on low-value situations. You invest energy in growth, in health, in purpose, in building your life. This focus multiplies power. Another truth is that unshakable people are hard to manipulate. Manipulation needs emotion. No emotional access means no control. People may try, they fail. Your calm becomes your shield. Another important idea is that being unshakable changes how you walk into rooms. Your presence is different, not loud, not aggressive, stable. People feel it. They may not know why. They just know you are not easily moved. Another truth is that unshakable people do not explain their strength. They live it. Explanation is unnecessary. Presence is enough. Another important idea is that this identity protects your future. Your future is shaped by decisions. Decisions are shaped by emotional state. Steady emotional state leads to better decisions. Better decisions build better life. Another truth is that unshakable people accept uncertainty. They do not need control of everything. They control themselves. That is enough. Another important idea is that unshakable people choose peace over drama. Drama is loud. Peace is powerful. Drama attracts attention. Peace attracts respect. Another truth is that unshakable people do not beg for understanding. They understand themselves. Self-understanding replaces external validation. Another important idea is that being unshakable makes you rare. Most people react. Few people remain steady. Rarity creates value. Another truth is that being unshakable feels boring to emotional people. They live on intensity. You live on stability. Stability wins long term. Another important idea is that your calm will sometimes make others uncomfortable. They are used to reactions. Your non-reaction breaks patterns. Discomfort in others is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is your center. Another truth is that being unshakable allows you to move through life with clarity. Less noise, less chaos, more focus. Focus is power. Another important idea is that being unshakable is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. Self-mastery is the highest form of confidence. Another truth is that when you master yourself, the world has less power over you. Events happen. You stay steady. People talk. You stay grounded. Pressure comes. You stay calm. Another important idea is that this identity grows stronger over time. Each calm choice adds weight. Each pause adds strength. Each non-reaction adds authority. Another truth is that unshakable people stop chasing emotional safety. They become emotional safety within themselves. Another important idea is that you will notice something new. Silence will feel comfortable. Waiting will feel natural. Not reacting will feel normal. What once felt hard becomes easy. That is habit. That is identity. Another truth is that being unshakable is freedom. Freedom from emotional chains. Freedom from impulse. Freedom from other people's control. Another important idea is that you no longer fear triggers. Triggers become training. Training makes you stronger. Another truth is that being unshakable makes you reliable. People trust steady people. Trust creates influence. Influence creates power. Another important idea is that your life will feel calmer. Not perfect, not without challenge, but calmer. Calm gives you room to think. Thinking gives you advantage. Another truth is that being unshakable does not mean being distant. You can still care. You just do not lose yourself. Care with control is strength. Another important idea is that you are no longer owned by moments. Moments pass. You remain. Another truth is that this is the final shift from reactive person to responsive person to unshakable person. This is dangerous confidence. Not dangerous to others, dangerous to weakness, dangerous to chaos, dangerous to emotional control from the outside. You are no longer pulled. You are no longer shaken. You are no longer ruled by impulse. You stand calm, centered, unmovable. And a person who cannot be shaken cannot be controlled. That is the final form of dangerous confidence. That is real power.